I was never there.
Accessing archive file. Series, the glitch files. Anomalous signal detected. Somewhere in the static, reality slipped.
I was only gone 10 minutes. At least, that's what the clock said. 3:42 to 3:52. But everything that happened after didn't make sense. I walked into the building. I scanned my badge. I nodded at security. The usual nod. Not too friendly, not too distant. He barely looked up, but when I got to the elevator, I paused. Something didn't feel right. The hallway looked cleaner, not freshly cleaned, just different. The flickering light in the far corner was steady now. The scuff marks on the baseboard, gone. My shoes didn't squeak like they normally do against that tile. I remember thinking, maybe they replaced the floor. Maybe I just never noticed. I pressed the button. The elevator door opened before I touched it. A woman walked out. I didn't recognize her, but she looked at me like she knew me. Her lips moved like she was going to say something, but she stopped herself. I stepped in. The elevator was empty. The hum was louder than usual. The ride to the 6th floor took longer than it should have. I counted the floors, watched the numbers flicker. 1, 2, pause. 3, long pause. Then suddenly, 6, no. 4, no. 5. When the doors opened, the hallway was dim. The lights on the ceiling were tinted blue instead of the usual white. I walked to my office. The nameplate on the door didn't say my name. It said Data Services. I called his name. He looked right through me, not past me, through me, like I wasn't there. I took the stairs back down. The lobby had more plants than before, brighter. The security guard was gone. His desk was there, but no one sat behind it. I checked my phone. 3:52. 10 minutes. That was all. I left the building. The air outside was thicker, like after rain, but the ground was dry. A bus passed with an ad I didn't recognize. District Echo, coming soon to every mind. A blank stare from the model on the side of the bus. I blinked, and then the street felt familiar again. I walked 2 blocks and called Sam, my coworker, my friend, my tether to normalcy. He answered, "Hello? Hey, it's me. Something weird just happened." A long pause. "Who is this?" "Me. Jared." Silence. "You must have the wrong number." "No. Sam. Wait." Click. I checked my contacts. His name was there. His number, too. I redialed. "This number is not in service." I sat on a bench outside a coffee shop, same one I'd been going to for years. It was still called Roam and Grind, but the sign looked newer, like it had just opened. I went in. The barista smiled. "First time here?" "No, I come here all the time." She tilted her head, politely confused. "I always order the cold brew with oat milk and cardamom." She smiled again. "That's oddly specific." She made it anyway, handed it over like she wanted to believe me. I sat at the corner table near the window, the one I always claimed before work, but it didn't feel like mine. The groove in the wood, where I used to rest my pen, was gone. The napkin holder was different. Someone else had taken this life, piece by piece, and polished it into something unfamiliar. I left the coffee shop and headed home. Maybe I just needed rest. Maybe I hallucinated. That's what people say when reality bends. Maybe you're just tired. I got to my apartment. The doorman nodded. Same one as always. Rough day? He asked. I exhaled. Yeah, you could say that. At least he recognized me. I stepped into the elevator. 6th floor again. The panel looked different, more modern, sleek. I reached my door. The number was the same, 603. The key worked. Inside, everything was almost right. My books were there, my desk, my bed. But the painting above the couch, the one my sister gave me, was missing. In its place was a print of abstract lines, like sound waves without sound. I opened my laptop. The login worked. My desktop was clean, too clean. No folders, just a single icon. Start over. I didn't click it. I just stared at it. Then I noticed something else. A file in the trash bin. I opened it. A single text document. One line, "You were never here." I closed the laptop. That's when the panic set in. Not loud panic, not screams or flailing, just a deep, gnawing realization. Like gravity had shifted slightly. Like I was walking sideways through a version of my life that didn't recognize me anymore. I called my sister. She picked up. Hello? Hey, it's me. Who? Who? She said again. I didn't answer at first. My mouth opened, but the sound caught somewhere behind my teeth. It's Jared, I finally whispered. Your brother. The pause was long enough to stretch time itself. I don't have a brother, she said gently. Not confused, not angry, just calm, like she believed it, like it was a fact. I hung up. I didn't want to hear the rest. I looked around the apartment. Same layout, same walls. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something else had lived here. Someone else. Someone who kept everything almost the same, but not quite. In the bathroom, the mirror reflected a version of me that didn't feel anchored. My face was tired, a little older than I remembered. I leaned in. My eyes looked normal, but something shimmered in the whites, like static on a screen. I closed the mirror cabinet. Behind me, the shower curtain had changed. I never bought a blue one. I hate blue. I needed answers. I opened my laptop again. The file was gone. The desktop icon that said "Start Over" had changed. Now it read "Restore Session." I clicked it. Nothing happened. The screen flickered once, then returned to the desktop. In the corner, a new file appeared. Glitch 13.4.log. I opened it. A string of code. No idea what it meant. But buried in the middle was a phrase in plain English. User unrecognized. Memory reset in progress. Approximate time lost. 10 M34s. Trace anomaly detected. Loop deviation logged. Loop anomaly. Trace. I wasn't hallucinating. Something had broken, and I had fallen through. I left the apartment again. The streets outside shimmered faintly, like heat waves. I rubbed my eyes. A man across the street stared at me. Too long, like he knew, like he was waiting for me to see him. I stepped off the curb. A car passed between us. When it cleared, he was gone. At the library, I searched for newspaper archives. I don't know what I was looking for. Proof, maybe. A headline. A record. Something. I typed my name. Nothing. I typed my work building's address. The search showed a photo, but the building was different, smaller, older, brick instead of glass. The caption read, "Demolished 2013." That wasn't possible. I was just there. Unless I wasn't. I leaned back in the chair. The room felt colder. I looked at the people around me. They were normal. Reading, typing, living in a version of reality that hadn't glitched. I left without checking out. Back on the street, a bus passed again. Same ad. District Echo. But now the tagline was different. Echoes aren't memories. They're warnings. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. A voice, mechanical but calm. "You've been noticed. Return to your loop or lose it entirely." "Who is this?" I whispered. But the line was already dead. I sat on the curb, watched people pass. A child dropped their ice cream, laughed instead of crying. A man hummed a tune I knew but couldn't place. Reality continued, indifferent to my unraveling. Then something small but sharp shifted again. The sun moved, not visibly, but I felt it. 1 second, it was behind the clouds. The next, it was casting long shadows, as if hours had passed. My phone said 3:53. Still, it hadn't moved. I walked toward the one place I hadn't checked. The archive building downtown. Government storage. Inside, a receptionist with silver-rimmed glasses asked for my name. I gave it. She typed, paused. "You're not in the system. Could you check again?" She looked up. Her eyes held something I didn't expect. Recognition. Not friendly, not confused, just like she knew I shouldn't be here. "I'm sorry," she said, voice quieter. "You'll need to leave." I turned to go, but as I did, she whispered one more thing. "Some glitches want to be fixed. Others want to spread." Outside, the clouds began to flicker. Yes, flicker, like old fluorescent bulbs in the sky. I walked fast. My hands trembled. I passed a shop window and stopped. My reflection wasn't matching me anymore. I raised my right hand. The reflection raised its left. Then it smiled. I didn't. I backed away. Fast. My chest thudded. Back at home, the door didn't open. My key didn't fit. The doorman wasn't there. I rang the buzzer. No answer. My phone screen lit up again. New message. Time tries to correct itself, but not everyone returns clean. I dropped the phone. The world seemed quieter now. Not silent, just muffled, as if I was underwater. I looked at my hands. Faint lines of static danced along my skin, like I was becoming part of the interference. Or maybe I always was. Maybe the glitch didn't happen to me. Maybe I was the glitch. "Hello? Hey, it's me." "Who?" I didn't sleep that night. I don't think I could. The world outside kept moving, but slower, like it had lost its rhythm. The streetlights pulsed out of sync. Birds flew in stuttering loops. The air itself felt like it was buffering. I wandered. No direction, just motion. Eventually, I ended up in front of the old subway station downtown, the one that was closed years ago after the line was decommissioned. But the gate was open, not unlocked, open, wide, waiting. I stepped inside. The escalator was off, but it hummed under my feet, as if pretending to work, as if trying to remember how. The platform below was dim. Dust floated like memory. And then I heard it, a soft sound, not mechanical, not natural, something in between, like whispered electricity. A figure stood at the edge of the platform, not facing me, just there. I approached slowly. When I was close enough to speak, I realized it was me. Same coat, same shoes, same twitch at the corner of the eye. He turned. His face was my face, but tired, frayed. Been looking for you, he said. My throat was dry. What is this? The point in the loop where you begin to remember. Remember what? That you've been here before. That this isn't your first reset. I shook my head. No, I lost 10 minutes. That's it. He smiled. It wasn't kind. You lost a version, 10 minutes at a time, until none of them recognize you, until the system gives up trying to reinsert you, until you become the margin. The margin? The piece that doesn't fit, the anomaly they ignore, because correcting it would collapse the rest. He stepped closer. I didn't back away. You asked why no one remembers you, he said. It's because you were overwritten, versioned out. But something went wrong this time. You kept your awareness. The loop cracked. You slipped. Why me? No reason. That's the glitch. It's not personal. It's just a line of code that refuses to stay silent. I felt dizzy, like standing on two timelines at once. So, what now? He looked over his shoulder, toward the tunnel. You walk into the noise. And maybe, just maybe, you rewrite yourself in. He turned and stepped off the platform, onto the tracks, into the dark. I followed. The tunnel swallowed sound. I walked until I couldn't see the station anymore, until even the air felt different. And then, light, a soft, pulsing glow. In the center, an old terminal. CRT screen, green text blinking. User anomaly acknowledged. Loop repair in progress. Inject overwrite protocol. 2 options. Yes. No. My hands hovered. A voice behind me, not mine this time, said, once you press it, you won't remember pressing it. I turned. No one there. I looked at the screen again. If I chose yes, maybe I'd be remembered again. Fitted back in. A clean version, but not this version. If I chose no, I'd keep the truth, but live outside of everything. Forgotten. I pressed nothing. I waited. The screen blinked, then displayed a third option. Observer mode. No overwrite. No deletion. Just watching. I pressed it. The light faded. When I woke up, I was standing outside the coffee shop. Same street, same sky, but everything was quieter. People passed, but they didn't look at me. I went inside. The barista was different, or maybe not. It was hard to tell now. I ordered nothing, sat at the same table, watched the world from a step outside it. I don't age now. Not that I've noticed. I don't sleep much, but I don't need to. I watch people go through their loops. I see the resets, the skips, the reorders. No one notices, except sometimes, once in a while, someone will pause, tilt their head, look around like they lost something. They'll check the time, frown, and for a split second, they'll see me. Not clearly, just enough. I nod. They blink, and then they forget. But I remember for them. I keep the fragments because I've learned that time doesn't break all at once. It unravels in minutes, and sometimes in just 10.
Glitch recorded. Returning to standby.